Hello, in this video I'm going to show you step by step how we can use the API to verify email addresses. We're going to verify two types of addresses. First we'll verify individual addresses and then we'll verify a file. How can we do this? It's very simple. The first thing you need to do is log into the private platform, go to the API section and create a new API. I've created this API here which is called Test API Verify Emails. If we click here on details, we can see the credentials, which is what we've entered here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and this is the token we're going to use to perform the verifications. It's always a good idea to create test APIs and limit the number of verifications. Then in production, you can choose to keep this limited or not, depending on what you want to do. The first thing we're going to look at is how we can perform an individual verification. To do this, we can use what's in the documentation, which is Swagger. Swagger simply simulates the calls that we're going to make. In this case, we're going to make an individual request. So we expand it, indicate that we want to test the service, and select the service we want to use. In this case, we're going to use an email address so it can be verified for us. We enter the token. Sorry, it was 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which is the token we obtained in the previous step. And in the terms section, we enter the email address we want to verify. In my case, I'm going to enter my own email address. And then we'll click Execute. What this is doing is making a GET request. Here you can see that in 1 or 2 seconds, it executes the response to that verification, telling me that the email address is correct. So that you can interpret the results. For these verifications, what we recommend is that you go to the Verify Emails page. If you scroll down to the bottom in the footer, in the API documentation section, which is what we have open here, go to the results guide, and there you'll see all the possible cases for how email addresses should be handled. Basically, the only valid addresses are the ones marked as OK. Then we might have addresses that are accept all or OK for all. What these are telling us is that they accept any type of email. All right? If you want to implement the API in other programming languages, you can open our Postman collection. Postman is simply a way to structure the calls, and here you can choose the language you want to use for making the request. All right? This would refer to what individual verifications are. For example, the verification we can have in a form. Before submitting the form, we can verify that email address. What happens if, instead of verifying email addresses one by one, I want to verify files? Well, then I have to use this request, the batch request. In the batch request, all we have to do is open it up. We say that we want to use it. We're going to select the service we want to verify, in this case, emails. The token is exactly the same as the one we used in the previous case. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It asks us to upload the file we want to verify, which I already have ready. It's called test.ficaros.txt. I'm going to show you a bit of the structure of this file. Basically, what we have here is a column where under each row of this column, we have the email addresses that we want to verify. This file could contain a lot more data. It could have names, surnames, phone numbers. What I recommend, for privacy reasons, is that you only include the data that is absolutely necessary for verification. We delete them anyway, okay? We don't keep a copy. We have privacy policies in place, everything is organized, and the data is always stored encrypted during the verification process. Even so, our recommendation is that you only use the data that is absolutely necessary for verification. In this case, we're going to tell it that we want to enter the emails that are in the first column. We're going to tell it that we want to receive a notification. It will send us an email once the verification of that file is complete. And we can also specify a callback, meaning that if we are using webhooks to trigger another process, when the verification finishes here, we can provide a URL so it notifies us that the verification process has ended. We're going to click Execute. Here you can see how the call is being made and what it's returning here. It would be a unique verification ID. In order to accurately know that the verification process has completely finished, we can effectively utilize the getStatus call. Similarly, we will click to try it out, and we specifically have to tell the service which particular file's verification status we genuinely want to check. We then proceed to either enter or carefully paste the verification ID that we have previously set up, and finally, we enter the token once again. For the verification, we click Execute, and in this case, it tells us that a total of 3 files have been verified, 3 have been processed, and it shows us the credits that have been deducted during this verification process, okay? And it also tells us how we can download that file, all right? If we just open the URL it provides us, let's see. It downloads the file for us and we can open it. And we will see the verification status for each row. In the first case, it tells us that the address is okay. In the second, it says it's inconclusive because this domain accepts all email addresses. And in the third row, we have an email that is clearly non-existent. All right? Remember that we can use the getStatus function to check the verification status, okay? Or we can also use the webhook to automate it, okay? If you have more complex workflows, it's really worth using the webhook because you can automate the entire process. If we navigate to our comprehensive API and then proceed to click on the View option, we will be readily able to clearly see all of the various files that we have diligently been uploading to this robust platform. In this particular instance, it is specifically this designated file, and we can conveniently download it directly from here. Furthermore, we have the capability to view a detailed visual representation or an insightful visualization of those particular files, or we can also thoroughly check the current status of all the associated calls. So that's it for email verification, whether individually or in bulk using files. Remember that you can also upload files directly to the platform, use integrations with Zapier or N8EN, or use widgets directly to perform verifications in your forms. All right? I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you.